I never thought 7 words could destroy my entire life. Maya, come on! You're married, not dead. Rachel poured another glass of wine, her eyes gleaming with that look she got when she wanted gossip. Tell us something juicy. I laughed, feeling the warmth of the alcohol spreading through me. It was Friday night and Daniel was at some tech conference in Seattle. Rachel's apartment was all white marble and mood lighting. The kind of place that made you feel sophisticated just sitting in it. Yeah. Maya. Sophie leaned forward, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. We've all shared. Your turn, Jessica giggled from the couch. Don't be boring. Married people have the best stories because they're not supposed to tell them. I should have left. I should have said I was tired, that I had an early morning. But I didn't. Okay, I said, feeling the pressure of their expectant faces. Rachel had just finished bragging about her latest hookup, making explicit comparisons that had us all laughing. Sophie had shared something about her ex that made my cheeks burn. Even Jessica had contributed. I was the only one holding back. The boring married friend? Well, I took another sip of wine. My ex Ryan was definitely more satisfying in the size department, if you know what I mean. The reaction was instant. Rachel shrieked with laughter. Sophie's jaw dropped, then she erupted into giggles. Jessica literally fell back on the couch howling. Oh my God, Maya! Rachel gasped between laughs. I can't believe you just said that. I laughed too. Their validation felt like a drug, washing away my guilt. Wait, Ryan the personal trainer? Sophie asked, still laughing. The one with the abs? Yeah, that Ryan, I said, and they screamed again. I didn't know Mark was in the hallway outside. Daniel's best friend, there to pick up Sophie's roommate for a date. I didn't know the walls were thin. I didn't know he heard everything. I didn't know my entire world was about to collapse. Daniel came home Sunday evening. I'd spent the day cleaning, making his favorite lasagna, trying to ignore the hangover guilt that had been eating at me since Saturday morning. Hey, babe. I greeted him at the door, reaching for a hug. How was the conference? His arms didn't wrap around me. His body was rigid. We need to talk, he said. My stomach dropped. Those 4 words. I pulled back and looked at his face. Stone. Completely empty. Okay. I followed him to the living room. He sat on the couch, and I noticed his hands were shaking. Daniel, what's wrong? Mark called me yesterday. Ice flooded my veins. He was at Sophie's building Friday night, picking up her roommate. Daniel's voice was so flat it didn't sound like him. He heard you. Through the wall. Talking with your friends? Daniel, did you say what he told me you said? I wanted to lie. God, I wanted to lie so badly. But my face gave me away. It was just a stupid joke, I whispered. I was drunk. I didn't mean, did you say it? His voice cracked. Yes, but you humiliated me in front of your friends. His eyes finally met mine, and they were dead. You compared me to your ex and found me lacking. You laughed about my body with people who don't even know me. How am I supposed to come back from that? It didn't mean anything. They were all sharing stories, and you just what? Decided our intimacy was comedy material? I reached for his hand. He pulled away like I'd burned him. Daniel, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you sorry you said it, or sorry you got caught? I couldn't answer. The words stuck in my throat. I'm sleeping in the guest room, he said, standing. I can't even look at you right now. That night, I lay awake in our bed, my bed now, I guess, replaying the conversation at Rachel's apartment. Wishing desperately I could take it back. Hating myself for being so stupid, so thoughtless, so desperate for their approval. But it was too late. The words were out there, living in Daniel's mind, poisoning everything we'd built. 2 weeks of silence. 2 weeks of Daniel leaving for work before I woke up and coming home after I'd gone to bed. 2 weeks of my apology notes left untouched on the kitchen counter. I tried everything. His favorite meals sat uneaten. I suggested counseling, he didn't respond. I begged him to talk to me, he walked away. Just give him space, Rachel said when I called her, desperate. Men's egos are fragile. He'll get over it, I wanted to believe her. But I watched my husband disappearing before my eyes, and nothing I did could stop it. On Wednesday evening, I came home from work to find Daniel's car in the driveway. And another car I recognized. My heart sank. Patricia. His mother. I walked in to find them sitting at the dining table. Patricia looked at me with eyes that could freeze fire. Maya? I think you should hear this from Daniel directly, she said, her voice cold and formal. Daniel stood. He held out an envelope. My hands shook as I took it. Inside were legal documents, official stamps, lawyer letterhead. The words blurred as I tried to read them. Petition for legal separation. Notice of intent to file civil suit for emotional distress and defamation of character. You're suing me? I whispered, looking up at him. You're actually suing me? You made intimate details of my body public mockery, Daniel said, and his voice finally broke. Mark told me everyone laughed. Do you know what that does to a person? I trusted you with my vulnerability, and you weaponized it for entertainment. Daniel, I never meant... My son has been in therapy since Mark's call, Patricia cut in, her hand on Daniel's shoulder. He's had panic attacks. He can't sleep. You damaged him, Maya. You damaged my child. I'm so sorry, I said, tears streaming down my face. I'm so sorry. It was just a stupid joke. I was drunk and stupid and... It doesn't matter why you did it, Daniel said quietly. You did it. And I can't be married to someone who would do that to me. Please. Please, can we just talk about this? We're done talking, Patricia said. Read the documents. Get a lawyer. They left. I stood in my kitchen, our kitchen, holding papers that would end my marriage and possibly destroy my life. This couldn't be happening. This was Daniel, my Daniel. The man who'd proposed to me on a beach at sunset. Who'd cried when we said our vows. Who'd promised to love me through anything. But I'd broken that promise first. Mrs. Harper, I'm going to be blunt. This is bad. Thomas Bradford looked at me across his desk with the weary expression of a man who'd seen every type of human failure. My father had found him through a business contact. One of the few favors Dad was willing to do after I'd told him why I needed a lawyer. How bad? I asked, my voice small. Emotional distress suits are hard to prove, but defamation about someone's sexual characteristics in a semi-public setting? That's viable. I felt sick. It was just 4 friends. In an apartment. His lawyer will argue you made defamatory statements about his intimate physical attributes to multiple people, causing him severe emotional harm, Thomas said. They have a witness, Mark Stevens, who will testify to your exact words and the context. They have your husband's therapy records documenting panic attacks and emotional trauma following the incident. I didn't know Mark was there. Doesn't matter. You said it. Multiple people heard it. The damage is documented. Thomas leaned back in his chair. The separation will go through easily. You've been married less than 3 years, no kids, no joint property besides the house, which his parents helped purchase. The lawsuit is the real problem. What happens if we go to trial? If you lose? You could be liable for damages, his therapy costs, loss of consortium, emotional suffering, punitive damages. We're talking potentially $50,000 to $100,000. My vision blurred. I don't have that kind of money. Then we settle. But Jennifer Zhao is his attorney. She's aggressive and she's good. She'll want blood. Can you call her, please? I can't let this go to trial. I'll reach out, Thomas said. But Maya, prepare yourself. This is going to be expensive, one way or another. That night, I logged into my bank account. $12,000? My savings from 3 years of careful budgeting. It wouldn't even make a dent. I'd worked so hard to build my career, my life. And now I was facing financial ruin because I couldn't keep my mouth shut for one night. I called Rachel the next day, my hands shaking. Rach, Daniel's actually suing me. This is insane, right? You were there. It was just girl talk. Silence on the other end. Then, Maya, I don't know what you want me to say. What do you mean? You started the whole conversation that night. Yeah, but I didn't say anything about my husband's body. You did. And honestly, Maya, that was pretty harsh. I felt like she'd slapped me. You're supposed to be my best friend. I am, but I also have to be realistic. If Daniel's lawyer subpoenas me, I have to tell the truth about what you said. I can't lie under oath. So you're just going to throw me under the bus? I'm not throwing you anywhere. You said what you said. I can't be in the middle of this. Sophie was worse. When I called her, I could hear the excitement in her voice. Oh my God, Maya, this is crazy. Jessica already posted about it on her private story. Obviously not using names, but like everyone knows. She what? I mean, it's kind of insane, right? Like, who actually sues their wife for a joke? My humiliation was entertainment to them. A story to share, a drama to watch unfold. Can you tell Jessica to take it down? Maya, it's already out there. Everyone's talking about it. Jessica didn't even return my calls. I left 3 voicemails. Nothing. The only person who showed actual concern was my younger sister, Lily. Maya, what you said was really hurtful, she said when I called her, crying. I get that you're scared, but Daniel's scared too. He's terrified people are laughing at him. I know. I hate myself for it. Then you need to face the consequences, Lily said gently. And maybe find better friends. She was right. Rachel, Sophie, Jessica, they'd encouraged me to be cruel for their amusement. And now I was paying the price alone. My phone rang Tuesday morning. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Maya, what the hell? Ryan, my ex-boyfriend. I hadn't heard his voice in 4 years. Ryan? How did you... My name is apparently attached to your divorce lawsuit. Do you know how uncomfortable this is? I sat down, dizzy. What? Daniel's lawyer contacted me, asking if I'd be willing to provide testimony about our relationship. About our physical relationship. Do you know how that conversation went? Oh God, Ryan, I'm so sorry. You used me as a weapon to hurt your husband, he said, his voice tight with anger. And now, if this goes public, my name could get dragged through court documents. I have a girlfriend, Maya. How the hell do I explain this to her? I hadn't even considered Ryan's perspective. I never meant for you to be involved, but I am involved. Because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. Please don't talk to any lawyers. I'm trying to settle this. Just leave me out of it, Ryan said. I don't want any part of your mess. He hung up. I sat on my bathroom floor and let myself break down completely. I'd hurt Daniel. I'd embarrassed Ryan. I'd destroyed my reputation. And for what? A few minutes of validation from women who didn't actually care about me? Every person I'd thoughtlessly involved in my joke was suffering because of me. Thursday morning. The deposition? Thomas had prepped me for hours. Answer only what's asked. Don't volunteer information. Don't get emotional. Jennifer Zhao will try to make you look like a cruel, calculating person. Don't give her ammunition. I walked into that conference room feeling like I was walking to my execution. Daniel sat across the table. He wouldn't look at me. Jennifer Zhao was exactly as intimidating as I'd imagined. Sharp black suit. Sharp eyes. A smile that didn't reach anywhere near her face. Mrs. Harper, thank you for joining us today, she said. Let's start with some background. How long were you married to Mr. Harper? 2 years and 4 months. And during your marriage, would you describe the relationship as happy? Yes, until this. Until you made certain statements about your husband to your friends? Thomas raised his hand. Leading question. I'll rephrase. Mrs. Harper, on the evening of March 15th, did you attend a gathering at Rachel Kim's apartment? Yes. And were alcoholic beverages served? Yes. Did you consume alcohol that evening? Yes. How much? I don't know exactly. A few glasses of wine. Would you say you were intoxicated? I was tipsy. Not drunk, Jennifer made a note. Mrs. Harper, on that evening, did you make statements about your husband's genitalia to a group of friends? I wanted to disappear. To dissolve into the floor. Yes. Can you repeat those statements for the record? My face burned. Thomas had warned me this would happen. I said my ex-boyfriend was more satisfying in the size department. And the women in the room laughed? Yes. Did you laugh as well? I hesitated. I wanted to say no, but I couldn't lie under oath. Yes. So you found humor in publicly humiliating your husband's physical attributes? It wasn't like that. Please answer yes or no, Mrs. Harper. Yes, but no further questions on that point. Jennifer flipped through her notes. Now, Mrs. Harper, was your husband aware you'd been comparing him unfavorably to past sexual partners? I looked at Daniel. He was staring at his hands. No. So you deliberately kept these feelings from him while maintaining physical intimacy? Thomas objected. Calls for speculation about my client's state of mind. I'll rephrase. Mrs. Harper, did you ever tell your husband you found him physically inadequate? No, because I didn't. But you told your friends that? It was a joke. A joke that your husband wasn't in on. A joke at his expense. About his body. Shared with multiple people. Objection, Thomas said. Counsel is testifying, Jennifer smiled. Withdrawn. Mrs. Harper, how many people were present when you made this statement? 4, including me. And Mr. Stevens overheard through the wall? I didn't know he was there. But he was there. So at least 5 people became aware of your statement about your husband's inadequacy. Thomas objected again, but the damage was done. The deposition lasted 3 hours. Every thoughtless moment of my life, examined and weaponized. By the end, I felt stripped bare. Daniel left without a word, without even looking at me. I broke down in the parking lot, Thomas standing awkwardly nearby. That could have gone worse, he said, which meant it had gone badly. 2 weeks later, Thomas called. I was at work, trying to focus on a campaign deadline. They've offered a settlement. I stepped into an empty conference room. How much? $50,000, plus you cover all his legal fees and therapy costs. Approximately $70,000 total. The room spun. I don't have that kind of money. You can set up a payment plan. Maya, I strongly advise you take this. If we go to trial, you could lose even more. Plus, a trial means public records. Do you want potential employers Googling you and finding court documents about this? I thought about my father. He'd immigrated from Taiwan with nothing, built a successful restaurant through brutal, endless work. How could I tell him I'd thrown away $70,000 because I couldn't control my mouth at a party? Maya, are you there? I'll take it, I whispered. Good. I'll draw up the paperwork. Signing those papers felt like signing away my dignity. My financial security? Any hope of salvaging something from my marriage. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. Daniel kept the house. His parents had helped with the down payment anyway. I moved into a studio apartment across town. 400 square feet. A mattress on the floor. Secondhand furniture from Facebook Marketplace. I took on every freelance project I could find. Worked 16-hour days to make the settlement payments. Rachel, Sophie, and Jessica never apologized. They just quietly unfollowed me on social media. When I told my father about the settlement, he looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Disappointment so deep it was almost physical. Your words have consequences, Maya, he said in Mandarin. This is an expensive lesson, my mother cried. She actually cried. Lily hugged me but then said, I hope you learned something from this. I had. I'd learned that $70,000 is the price of 7 words you can never take back. The months that followed were the loneliest of my life. I threw myself into work. Marketing campaigns. Social media strategies. Anything that paid. I needed every dollar for the settlement payments. I deleted Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Cut off Rachel and the others completely. Started seeing a therapist named Dr. Patel. You understand what you did was hurtful, Dr. Patel said during one session, but you're also punishing yourself excessively. What you said was cruel and thoughtless, but it was also human. The question is, what will you do differently? I thought about that constantly. Lying awake at night, staring at my ceiling, replaying that night over and over. I was so desperate to fit in, I told her, to be seen as cool and uninhibited. I sacrificed someone I loved for validation from people who didn't actually care about me. And now I hate myself. That's not growth, Maya. That's just suffering. I wrote Daniel a letter. Not expecting a response. Just needing to say what I couldn't in the deposition. Daniel, I'm so sorry. There's no excuse for what I said. It was cruel and thoughtless, and you deserved so much better. I understand why you did what you did. I hope you find happiness. I hope you find someone who treasures you the way I should have. I never sent it. What good would it do? One evening, I ran into Mark at a grocery store. He looked uncomfortable. Maya. He nodded. Mark. We stood there awkwardly. Then he said, for what it's worth, Daniel's doing better. He's in a new relationship. She seems good for him. It hurt. But I was glad. Thank you for telling me. He nodded and walked away. That night, I cried. Not for myself. For Daniel. For the man who'd loved me, and whom I'd wounded so deeply he had to legally protect himself from me. I made my final settlement payment on a Tuesday, 13 months after signing the papers. The weight that lifted from my shoulders was physical. I was broke, living in a tiny apartment with secondhand furniture. But I was free. I'd learned to be alone. I'd learned to think before I spoke. I'd learned that words, once spoken, can never be taken back. They live forever in the people they wound. I saw Daniel one last time. At a mutual acquaintance's wedding. He was there with his girlfriend. She was pretty with an easy laugh and kind eyes. He saw me across the reception hall. For a moment, our eyes met. I smiled, sad, apologetic, acknowledging everything we'd been and lost. He nodded. Just once, then turned away. That was closure. Not forgiveness, but recognition that we'd both survived. If you could go back to that night, what would you do differently? Dr. Patel asked me, months later. I'd leave before the conversation turned mean, I said. I'd choose my marriage over fitting in with friends who didn't really care about me. And who are you now? I thought about it. Really thought. Someone who understands that cruelty, even in jest, is still cruelty. Someone who knows that trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired. Someone who's learning to be kinder to others and to myself. I never remarried. I rebuilt my career slowly, gained a reputation for professionalism and reliability, reconnected with my family, earning back their trust. I made new friends, carefully, people with depth and kindness, people who lifted others up instead of tearing them down for entertainment. And sometimes late at night, I think about Daniel and hope he's happy. My joke cost me $70,000. My marriage, my friendships, my reputation. But it taught me something priceless, that the words we speak in carelessness can echo for a lifetime. I'm still paying for that lesson. Just not in money anymore. I'm paying attention now to what I say, to who I hurt, to the person I want to be, and maybe that's the only redemption available. Becoming someone who would never make that joke again. The end.